All right. Hello, everybody.
Hive Mind Network Online, Channel 0093. Secure uplink initiated. Stinger OS now active.
So, a couple of things to talk about to begin with. And unfortunately, I think most people are not going to be around to hear it because, well, that's just how these things work. Hey, Hidden Citizen. Um, so, um, I'll say this right off the top. There is a link that I'm going to be putting in the chat, https://twitch.nighteam4, NITETEAM, the number 4.com. If you have this game and you are watching not even this stream, but other streams, to my understanding, if you are linked to um, that register, and I have linked, which I have done, then there are supposed to be drops that will happen by watching it. I suspect that I don't have the viewership to get the streamer ones, but I think this is a really interesting game, and I know a few of you really like watching this game. So for those of you who just find this game interesting but don't play it yourself, obviously this is just another extra stream for you to watch. If you don't like the game, well, you're probably not watching. And for those of you who enjoy the game, obviously this is a chance for you to hang out and get yourself some goodies.
Welcome, Agent.
Okay, so we were in the middle of a mission, but I was wondering whether or not it sort of boots me out in Dark Sentinel. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make the progress that I can. By the way, I did change my skin again. I think I'm going to be doing some fashion night team over a while. So I went for Illuminati, which is what I play in the Secret World, and there are a number of unlocks that we've now got. It's all so cool. I actually do want to talk a little bit about this game and why I am so interested in it, but let's head back for a minute and jump into the game. Actually, here's what we'll do. Rather than talk about the skins, I'm gonna opt for this for a little while. I'd like to talk a little bit about what I find so interesting about this game, because there are a few things. Number one, and this is what I talked about before, it's a game where I had always sort of been looking for a game that sort of captured the feeling of things like Uplink, where it was getting a little bit closer to the I'm at a computer and I'm playing a game about hacking, and it's at least presenting to me something that can roughly be understood as what might actually be going on. One thing that I definitely feel that games do not need more of is realism. So there's a reason why a lot of simulator titles have become very niche. And obviously, they're actually kind of coming back, which is interesting to see. So obviously, I can't make that statement very strongly, but when you think about hardcore simulator titles, like the ones where it's like, what is it, AC-10 Warthog or whatever it's called, that obviously has a very narrow audience, because obviously you want to enjoy sort of the fantasy or the illusion of doing an activity. Battlefield 5 is not a simulation of the Second World War any more than Company of Heroes is. But it's a very fun shooter, and you at least get to live in that skin for a little while. So, games have been really good at representing sort of the Hollywood hacking. They've been able to sort of give you this fantasy of a completely abstracted and futuristic view. And there have been a few that have been getting a little bit closer to something that you might be able to take as, quote unquote real, but with all of the boring bits taken out, because presumably, unless you work for the NSA, some of this stuff does not work as fast as it does inside of the game. So, Uplink was one. Hacknet was one which I've actually played an alarmingly small amount of. And this game, out of all of them, really seemed to grab my attention. And one of the reasons for this is that it actually includes real life links to some of the ideas that are behind the game. So I'm going to be a little bit better here. I'm going to go back onto full screen, and let's see if we can make this a little more. Okay, too close, a little too close. So, for instance, when we followed the link to After Midnight, which is the rootkit that we've been using. Oop. Let me back. Oh, come on. Vault 7 is a series of documents that WikiLeaks began to publish on the 7th of March 2017 that detail activities and capabilities of the United States Central Intelligence Agency to perform electronic surveillance and cyber warfare. The files dated 2013 to 2016 include details on the agency's software capabilities, such as the ability to compromise cars, smart TVs, web browsers, including Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Mozilla Firefox, and Opera Software ASA, and the operating systems of most smartphones, including Apple's iOS and Google's Android, as well as other operating systems such as Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. So let's see if we can find... midnight. There we go. So part 9. On the 12th of May 2017, WikiLeaks published Vault 7 Part 9, After Midnight and Assassin, which are two pieces of software that we have in the game right now. After Midnight is malware installed on a target personal computer that disguises as a DLL file, which is executed while the user's computer reboots. It then triggers a connection to the CIA's command and control computer from which it downloads the various modules to run. As for Assassin, it is very similar to its After Midnight counterpart, but deceptively runs inside a Windows service process. CIA operators reportedly use Assassin as a C2 to execute a series of tasks, collect and then periodically send user data to the CIA listening posts. Similar to a backdoor Trojan behavior, both After Midnight and Assassin run on the Windows operating system, are persistent and periodically beacon to their configured LP to either request tasks or send private information to the CIA, as well as automatically uninstall themselves at a set date and time. So, I was talking about this yesterday, but, oh damn it, it's changed the zoom for all of my pages. This is really taking me back to the stuff that I liked about Civilization, which is that you're playing a game, but you also get to learn a little bit more about the real world. And so that was one, in addition to the fact that it was a style of game which I feel there's not enough of. Like, the list of things that I could think of that fall within the realm of, games that sort of scratch that itch I was looking for. TIS 100, Shenzhen.io, Uplink, Hacknet, and now Night Team 4, and the Zachtronics games are their own thing. They're very fun and they're very interesting games, but they're not always the sort of thing that I'm always in the mood for. So this was a delight. But on top of that, in addition to the fact that I feel like I've learned a lot more out of this, there are some really interesting puzzles and stories inside of here. And so as I'm continuing to go down this rabbit hole and sort of enjoy this ride of, typing in a few commands, and again, it's really easy. It's easy enough for me to do, because obviously I would not be able to download like Kali or Parrot or something like that and break into computer systems, nor would I want to. But this game, makes it simple enough for me to be able to do, but not so trivial that it's not a fun game. And then on top of that, it's giving me a little bit more to work with. And where we ended, while I was definitely very tired and probably not at my best while playing it, this last mission on Operation Dark Sentinel actually started to introduce some new concepts. So, the previous ones we've been largely learning about the OS, and I've obviously been stumbling over some really obvious things which were covered in the Academy, but I didn't quite sync. And that's partly just because when I stream, obviously, I'll usually play a game like once a week, and so it's easy for me to fall out of good habits. This one is now presenting me with things which are genuine, puzzles. So I'm lucky in the fact that at least a couple of the ciphers that have been presented are ones that are reasonably well known so that I would know about them. And we'll see an example of this moving forward. But what the game has done now is, in its story mode, it's now starting to say, it's like, okay, so we expect you to be able to do the basic, like, put the pieces together part of things like, we give you somebody's name in one component, we give you somebody's password in another, and you need to link that on your own. What they're doing now is they're saying is like, we're actually going to give you like an image and a set of characters or something like that, and you're going to need to figure out what this all means. And I kind of feel that this is going to be the bridge towards a few more puzzles like that. In the end, there is an open world mode, and this is going to be what the big update. Again, we were talking about how there's going to be certain drops for people watching. When that big update comes in with the Goliath update, it's going to be, I believe, an open world one. And in this case, they say, so it actually says here, so time to put your skills to the test. Start your main mission here by completing various operations around the globe using what you've learned from the Academy. We need you, Agent. Make us proud. Then there is the open world. Open world missions are optional assignments for agents looking for a bigger challenge. You'll need to venture outside the Stinger OS in order to investigate and come back to execute your tasks. Complete these challenges for special rewards. So this is very much where you get to the alternate reality game thing. There are things in the world that are being referenced inside here. You need to kind of go down a bit of a rabbit hole in terms of figuring out what's going on. And I find this stuff absolutely fascinating. So there's a couple of things that really appeal to me about this approach, which is one, it's first of all a type of game that I really want to see happen. I like this type of game, and I wish there were more of them. Number two, now that I'm in, I see that there's a really rich story and like just so many interesting ideas running around, in addition to things that I can find out about the real world, which is again some of my favorite gaming moments. But on top of this game has actually enhanced my enjoyment of other things that I'd either ignored or haven't played. So I kind of want to play the Secret World again because I know that the Black Watchman was a spin-off of it. And then the Black Watchman is something that I'd seen on Steam once. I'm like, oh, this seems really interesting. I've heard of this thing called Majestic, which I never got to play. Like, it was gone by the time I was ever aware of it. Long gone by the time I was ever aware of it. But it's it was basically like, it's still around, the Black Watchman. So it's like, why don't I actually check this thing out? So I'm sticking with Night Team 4 for now, but basically this is just hitting all the buttons. One, it's a type of game that I'm interested in. Two, it's connecting to things that I like about games that I wish were in them more, so these real world connections. And then it's also enhanced my enjoyments of other products, or made me aware of other products. So, again, I'll just quickly remind, just seeing as we have a little bit of a pulse in the channel right now, if you follow that link there and you do play this game yourself, I have linked to that. As long as the whole like drops thing is working, apparently over time there'll be like a loot table rolled, and people will get drops for watching the stream. So hopefully that works. Obviously, please do not watch the stream purely for that reason, but hopefully that works. Okay, so let's jump into I gotta remember where we were in all of this. No, we need to do WMI first so that I can get into the Active Directory. So where we are in this mission here... So in this mission, we're trying to infiltrate a group, and this group has basically a test for us to go into. So we're going to connect to the employee directory.
Information gathering module initiated.
So we started off, for the first test, it was book 1, password, codex, gigas. This is just, did you find the directory? This one gives me a user ID and no password I needed to find it. So I'll actually show you what that was. Hidden Citizen comes to. Oh yeah, that was one of the other things. Is that one thing that really interested me was the number of people who do seem to know what they're talking about when it comes to, security, specifically computers. They definitely seem to be into this, so it definitely seems that it has a degree of credibility. I mean, it comes off as incredibly well researched, so I wouldn't doubt it. But like, it seems to be that people who know find this game a pretty good representation, and Hidden Citizen in particular seems to have really gotten into this. So again, this is absolutely the sort of thing that I love sharing. So this is the first one that we got. There's a reference to Paradise Lost, which I love. Johnny, you gotta have a copy of 19.4. Go get your email. This thing is good. And then you have to like link up your ID, but this is a cool game. And then this was the code that they gave us. So this one of the problems that I have with this is that I try to overthink it, and especially on stream, I don't want to do like the really obvious ones. But these are the illustrations to Paradise Lost by Gustave Doré. He also did ones for the Bible and for Dante's Inferno. Or maybe it was the whole Divine Comedy, but everybody just reads the Inferno anyway. But in this case, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. And then we take a look at the column here. So you've got 71. And in this case, it was Gustave. I thought it was G-U-S-T-A-V, but it's actually G-U-S-T-A-V-E. So maybe I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. But it was the name of the person who did these illustrations. So that was the first. The first level was actually very straightforward. They just gave us the password. Number 2. Level 2, book 2, so over here it gave us George Scoville, and then so the thing that was a little weird for me, and I haven't actually quite figured this out yet. No problem, Ebentane. I hope the drops work. So again, just a benefit for those of you who do. So the catch on this is you have to actually have this game. Oh, don't you? Oh, I'm sorry, Johnny. I feel bad then. But yeah, so I'm actually gonna go and do this one more time because I'm paranoid. Actually, no. What am I doing? So. Yeah, this is for receiving. Anyways, so your agent name and your password in that website, and you should be getting the drops. So where were we? I always feel like I'm taking my life in my hands whenever I put up a browser window. So Wikipedia is definitely my go-to. Oh no, I lost the window. Yes, that's correct. I don't know if there's supposed to be like a notification or not, but anyways, so this guy was he was really good at breaking codes. So the thing I haven't quite been able to figure out, why is that you don't have anything to hide in your browser? I have everything to hide in my browsing activity. So Scoville is most remembered for the crucial role that he played in breaking the codes of the French forces during the war, the Grand Chiffre. Gifted linguist, he was put in charge of a motley crew of various nationalities, recruited for their local knowledge and language skills, and called the Army Guides. They developed a system for intercepting and deciphering French communiques. And then if you want, you can go through the Grand Chiffre. And the one thing that is never quite clear to me is how I go from Scoville and his methods to the solution to this one, but this one has a fairly intuitive solution once you know what to look for. Not on this. Okay, cool. Yeah, so apparently you all will be getting fancy fancy things, but nobody will know. So, and then I think I'm gonna have to become a bigger streamer to get the streamer rewards, but I fully intend to be watching other people's streams to be able to get the goodies. So this one, basically, we get these symbols. Now, some of you are probably going to know this. Oh, Jesus. It's in another window. Some of you are probably going to know this stuff a bit better than I do. But apparently these have occult meanings that I wasn't fully appreciating. Like, I definitely knew that some of them were names of demons, either in Paradise Lost or in other sources. I didn't know all of them, but apparently all of these have some reference. So you'll notice that it tells you how to read it. You've got a big circle, so this is number 2, position 1, so it's G. Actually, you know what? I forget how I wrote this one out, so I'm gonna do it right now. This was my bad version of a previous run. So, sorry, I also got this wrong. So it's not 1, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this needs to be A. It was like, oh wait, I think it was something like that. So 8 will be position 3. So 1, 2, 3. We got R's. 3 was 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. There won't actually be a space in the full G. You know what? Let's just try. So you guys roughly see how that thing worked out. So I'll see if I can do it without completing the. 3, book 3. Yeah, okay. So this one, here's the thing. This is a perfect example of why I shouldn't go past the time that I normally do for streams. So here's the index. We've got a picture of Caesar and Vercingetorix. This is a really famous painting. I believe they actually used this for like a new GMT game. Oh, fair enough. Now, this is the problem. I don't know if the Da Vinci Code just made this up or what the deal is. I know there's ones called Caesar's box cipher, which works one particular way. Actually, you know what? No. Actually, now it makes sense why they'd call it a Caesar's box cipher, because I think you can actually get the same. Or no, these are two different things. You can't get the same. But the Caesar cipher, to my understanding, is basically you just shift the alphabet over to the side. So I actually, from school, I needed to do one of these things, so there was a tool. Caesar cipher. This is kind of cheating, but I got my spacings all wrong the last time. So there is a. I'll show you. So let's bring this thing up. This is a really good book, by the way, Simon Singh's code book. So, it's introduction to the Caesar cipher, but particularly it has a chance to go from plain text to ciphertext and vice versa. So in this case, I already know that it's shifted by 10, and that's just because of the way, you've got these connections here, F, G, HIJKLM. So in order to save all of the fumbling around, the next couple of missions I am going to be fumbling around. I don't normally like using these online tools, but we kind of solved the puzzle already. So, and this was just a matter here of implementation. So we're going to take our ciphertext and NKOWYXEW, and assuming this website works, daemonum. Well, this definitely seems like the sort of thing that would be an eligible password. So I'm so confident I'm gonna close this out. This game is about hacking. You're supposed to cheat. Yeah, but there's the I'm spoiling the fun. So this is the thing. This is one thing that amazes me about the company that's able to make these things. I actually try and like reference them in all of the tweets. I think this time I just did like a Night Team 4 reference. But if you want, if it's for me, I definitely prefer to make my own mistakes. But if it's for the benefit of chat, go right ahead. Anyways, so the thing that really interests me about this company is if you think of games like this, once you make a puzzle, like that's it. Like, so, and obviously puzzles are the sort of thing, like there's a game called The Witness, which I've not completed, but the way that they get past sort of this puzzle problem is the puzzles at the end are sort of procedurally generated. So nobody's going to be running into the same, into the same time limited puzzle, which means that they really do have to solve this thing on their own. So for a game like this, like I'm sure you can just go onto a website somewhere and say, how do I beat the last mission or the last part for the second mission? And once you sort of tap into that once, you feel a lot more comfortable. At least this is my experience with other games. It's why I really don't like, spoiling and backseating and all of that, is that once you rely on that once, it is so much easier for you to do that again. And then you wake up and then you start saying, it's like, oh, why does this game have more content? It's like, well, it did. Like, it had probably 40 hours worth of enjoyment there for you, and you proceeded to sit down and have somebody else play it, and now you're complaining about them not making more things. So, of course, the joyful noise that everybody's making about the new update, which from the chat, it looks like it's going to be the 25th, but I don't have sort of an I don't have an inside line in terms of when that comes out. But obviously this game continues to get updated. Apparently this one is an update relating to sort of a simulation of a cyber attack that the G7 countries will be doing. So that's also kind of a neat little tie-in. So the game's adding more puzzles and adding more stuff for you to do. But of course, this is one of the reasons why I don't normally like using tools like that to solve my problems, because it's very easy to kill the fun. But with that in mind, it's more, oh, okay. Maybe I got it wrong. Oh, no, it's the... Oh, it's book 4. There we go. This is the big I will admit that one of the big challenges that I have with these kinds of games is normally whenever... So if I get stuck in a puzzle game... So if I hit it out of the park... nobody, like, everybody's just like watching a stream. If I do poorly, usually it's one of two things: either people telling me how to solve it or mocking me for not being smart enough. So I always feel like I'm taking my life in my hands whenever I play stuff like this. But Okay, so we're looking for securebackup.io. Presumably that's where the password's going to be. It doesn't actually, so it's worth saying, it doesn't actually say that the password is book 5. But I'm going to run with that hypothesis right now. I don't actually know what painting this is. So we've got Simnight Avalon. Apparently we need to access VPN Simnight. And we're not necessarily any closer to finding securebackup.io, but anyways, it's going to give me a chance to play around with some of the tools. So for those of you unfamiliar with this game, there is a nice detailed tutorial inside of the game which will explain all of the different tools that you can use, but I'm going to try and explain roughly what I'm up to. So right now I'm looking for the company Simnight Avalon, and we're trying to presumably find this file inside of it. Now the first missions that you do are not going to be this sort of cagey in terms of telling you what you need to do. This is definitely, I feel like this is kind of the gateway in terms of the game saying, like, okay, we're going to expect you to do a little bit of work on your own now. So we're taking information that we've learned earlier in the game to do this. But right now, the hypothesis I'm working with is that there's a file called securebackup.io in one of these sort of sections, one of these directories. And in order to find out about Simnight, we know that there's at least these 3. Now, I don't actually need to do my vhost mapping right away, although I will. But I'm going to start with an sfuzzer. And I'm just going to let this run in the background. But while we're doing that, I'm going to open up the fingerprint, and I'm going to be looking to see if we have any way of getting into these sites. So fingerprint simnight.com. Sometimes, but the problem is that when I go, when I jump between the different desktops, like because there isn't a keyboard shortcut, I tend to find it just as easy for me to move the windows around like this rather than do these. So it's just a personal preference thing. If I had something like the Apple control left or right, I'd probably use it a bit more. Okay. Okay, so this is the vulnerability that we have. And then while I'm at it, I don't think I should need to use mail, but oh, not wrong one. So as it turns out, Simnight was the only one that we found through our sfuzzer, and it was the information that we got from basically the group that we're trying to infiltrate. So we'll rely on the fact that they've got a Cisco VPN client inside the
information gathering module initiated.
Okay, so search exploit. Sorry, I just want to send a quick. I'm getting used to playing these games on full screen. So for the long, maybe a small background while I'm getting this done, because there's not going to be anything that's apparent on the desktop. I have, sorry, it's just something related to the Twitch stream so that I can be sure that stuff is up. I apologize. Please just sit down and enjoy whatever loot you're being randomly drawn for. Where did this go? I seem to have lost a window somewhere. I think we're back. Okay, so basically what we've done is we found from this diagram, we found that there is a vulnerability. We wouldn't have been able to find this through the tools that we normally have, although if we found a way into www.simnight.com, we might have been able to discover one of these other ones, but we're going to be using the fact that there's the Cisco VPN client vulnerability to get inside this system and hopefully find the file that we're looking for. So CVE 2015-7600 Cisco VPN client 5x through 50070440 uses weak permissions for vpnclient.ini, making it easy to spoof, which allows local users through a UDP delivery to gain privileges by entering an arbitrary program name into the command field of the application launcher section. Preferred delivery method, UDP, and exploit to use content spoofing. So we'll go to network intrusion. We'll take all of that information and say content spoofing. I always use After Midnight. So obviously from that thing we were reading, Assassin and After Midnight are the two tools that seem to be revealed in that leak from the CIA, but I can't remember a time where it's actually told me to use Assassin. And I, for some reason, don't have. Oh, you know what? I did VPN Aventech, so this might actually not be correct. Hey, Ryland. Yes, this is a game by a company called Alice and Smith. It's called... Okay, well, it turns out that it's still the same exploit, so I wonder if it'll... Yep, there we go. So the best way I can summarize this, people who like Cultist Simulator will like this because there are some occult and Lovecraftian elements inside the Black Watchman, which is sort of the universe that this game takes place in. And the... Sorry. Okay, sorry, Roland. So basically this game, I'm not 100% sure on the entire history of this series, but basically you've got the Secret World Legends, and there was sort of a spin-off for a separate company, which the rights were eventually transferred to Alice and Smith, which is a Canadian company, to make sort of this alternate reality game. There have been sort of follow-up games, of which this is the most recent one, and there's a big update coming out. So I was sort of offered a key to sort of broadcast this thing, in addition to the fact that there's a big there's sort of like a you get drops sort of event that's coming up. But basically, the thing that appealed to me about this game was the fact that it's sort of a little bit of a simulation of breaking into computer systems and that, but it's got some interesting puzzles and sort of an interesting story behind it. So it's I will definitely say the thing that I'm coming in here is this is where the game's starting me to make me do some work on my own. But what I think really sold me on the game when I was going through it was, in addition to the fact that it was teaching me how to play the game, it was always giving me more references that I could check out in the real world. And apparently the Black Watchman, it's more so about the gameplay, but I believe the Black Watchman is apparently supposed to sort of rely on that too. So it's something that it kind of came out of nowhere for me, but I've really been enjoying playing it. And it seems to have some sort of some connections that to things that people who normally watch my stuff might enjoy. Okay, so I got to get back on track. We're looking for... Okay, so the first thing it might, the easiest thing that might come up is if I just do a simple net scan. And it could be that one of these things live inside of, it lives inside one of these folders. So I'm never 100% sure. Okay. So this is the part where I suddenly get a little more, it looks pretty fun. You might give it a try. Try to after the stream if it remains looking fun. Absolutely. I'll also let you know too. So I'm going to do my best to stream this a little more regularly over the weekend because apparently there are some drops. So if you do wind up picking up this game, I will let you know that there's sort of like basically people are going to be getting drops for watching the stream. Basically, this is all apparently happening in the background, people hanging out, dealing with me, going very slowly through the game. Basically they're able to sort of suck up these things that'll be coming into them for the upcoming update, which I think is coming out in about a week or something like that. Okay, so one of the things that I can talk about in terms of my previous experience with the game and all of that is that it's been a little less clear to me in terms of where the WMI, the Active Directory, and and then these vulnerabilities sort of tie in. And I don't really want to reset the Academy. Oop, this is the wrong one. I really don't want to reset the Academy to figure this stuff out. But basically, for a while, I was operating under this assumption that I wouldn't actually be able to jump into these different directories. So I think it was yesterday that I suddenly realized that it's like, oh, I can actually take something like, I'll give just a random example. Let's take client. Now, I don't think I should actually be able to go in here because I don't have like a login. Okay, so as it happens, it says no file system found. Actually, this is, while I'm at it, I'm still going to need to find a password, but can I go into any of these? Interesting. So basically, the small challenge that I have, and it might just be because I didn't quite fully appreciate the way that actually there's one thing while I'm talking, there's one thing I can do in the background, which I always like to try. See if there's anything internal that I haven't figured out yet. But there's always that side of me that sits here and says like, okay, so I get that this thing's vulnerable, but I'm already inside the computer, so is there really any benefit to me hitting this thing? I might have to, just because I sort of seem to be at the limit of what I can do. There doesn't seem to be an Active Directory for me to run around in. So let's do a quick exploit and see if it tells me. Okay, Human Solutions Consulting data breach, UDP crafted this. Well, in this case, I'm going to go a little bit like a lemming and just...
Fox Acid server connection initiated.
Okay, so there wasn't anything special that I found from that.
Fox Acid attack launched. Fox Acid attack successful. Connection completed.
Okay. So now apparently I'm in backup. So we'll do this again. Scan. Okay, so Active Directory syscluster database. I'm going to start with the Active Directory just because that's something I'm basically kind of reaching back onto some of the things that I know in this game, and I know the Active Directory is going to give me material. Okay, so backup daily path, backup secure backup .io, and then user backup admin. Okay. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be using the... I feel like my only option here is the file browser, but I don't think that seems right. Okay, well, so this will possibly not be the most elegant way of doing it, but I'm kind of trying to pick up... Oh, wrong one. I'm trying to pick up the threads that it's giving me. So we've got...
Target acquired. Awaiting variables.
So unfortunately, I don't really have anything to give this. So we'll just wait the 30 seconds. So, Ryland, this actually has a skin in the game while we're doing this. There's, if you own the secret world, you get special skins. That's why I've got the Illuminati up right now. This is the uplink skin. Obviously, all my windows are covering it right now, but... and then also, if you own Hacknet...
Password successfully compromised.
Hooray! You didn't get to see that because I was busy playing fashion uplink, but again, you get fancy skins. A very special thank you to Allison Smith for giving me more skins than I deserve, by the way. Fashion Team 4, indeed, Johnny. All right. So, Angel. Now that's the password for the file server that we're trying to get into, or file browser, whatever. So backup secure backup.io, backup admin. Huh. So apparently it really just is Angel. There's a side of me that wants to see what that painting is, but... I'm just writing down the ones that I don't remember offhand. But let's take what we've got. I probably shouldn't be closing this all down right now, but... and I believe I actually need to log back into this system, so...
Turbine C2 registry initiated. Connection completed.
And we're level 5. Huh. Am I off by 1? No. Oh, wait. If I want to do that, I need to actually go to the different directory, so... Okay, now I'm really... I shouldn't have closed all those windows. All right. Yeah, it's safe to say I will be very, very clear when I want hints. Oop, sorry guys. Trying to find this cipher thing. I'm just trying to make sure that I haven't gotten myself a little too foggy on this. So these are cipher. I'm just bringing up that tool from again. Because I have a really bad habit for KOWYXEW. Shift 10. Ah. I deleted. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. Johnny knows better than anyone. Johnny has got the battle. Actually, Johnny has got probably one of my favorite responses. I think it's still in your clips. I don't remember who it was, but do you remember that time when you were playing Demon Souls and someone you offered someone the controller? Okay.
Turbine C2 registry initiated.
Alright, so I gotta find this thing that I was in before. I can't remember if it was SimNet or... I guess we can just go directly to the backups, so... Oh, damn it. All right, let's just take this from the
Turbine C2 registry
from where I knew I was.
initiated.
So we needed SimNight. We got like the SimNight VPN.
Connection
We'll do the level 2 because obviously we have what we need from that. I'm gonna go to another window just on this one because I'm doing
information gathering module initiated.
oh wait, it was just straight Active Directory.
Information gathering module initiated.
I'm just gonna go snooping around to see if there's anything that I might have missed. Okay. This thing just keeps showing up all over the place, but there's not much for me to go on here. Okay, so we've got daily backup. The path is backup.securebackup.io and user admin. Now, one of the things there's two paths that I can think about in terms of where I have where I've tripped up, which is I don't believe it's told us anything. Oh. Gonna have to get used to this, the way this notepad's working on my computer. I realize for most players it doesn't do that, but okay, so user backup admin. So I don't believe it's told me at any point that the username is actually book 5. I should be able to figure that out fairly quickly, though. Did I close the Active Directory on this one? I probably did.
Information gathering module initiated. Information gathering module initiated.
Oh, I'm on the wrong host.
Turbine C2 registry connection completed.
What was it? I'm trying to remember this command because I haven't used it in forever, but the thing that just happened, I remember once upon a time when I first learned Linux, I was sort of sitting there and is like, okay, why would I ever need, it's like who or something like that. But it basically like tells you who you are and what computer you're on. And I'm like, why would I ever need that? Like, obviously I'm me and I'm on my computer. And then I had a situation exactly like what happened in the game where you're just kind of in the depths of things and you're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to access a directory that doesn't exist on this computer. And it's like, okay, so the people who made, am I trying to... Sorry, I'm really getting tripped up as to which level I've tried to complete. So yeah, we're currently on level 4. Oh, no, okay. Well, this makes a hell of a lot more sense then. So if I feel like I skipped... So this is supposed to be John Milton, then. Nope, that didn't work. Oh, because it's level 4. There we go. Yeah, I just I wasn't looking in the right spots. Very good art style that they or art sense that they have, so thank you. Sorry, secret messages. Okay, mission done. I'm actually going to do a couple of bounties just because those... the one problem I noticed from yesterday was that people were like, oh, this looks so interesting, but like it's not for me, it's too hard. I am obviously thoroughly below average intelligence. All right, we've completed Operation Dark Sentinel. So we're gonna... Congratulations, you've reached a new rank. A new avatar frame is now available in your agent profile. So, first of all, Fashion Team 4 is important. Oh, wrong one. It's 3, 4. You get a little triangle on the bottom. Okay, and I think I'm going to keep the skin that I have right now because it's nice and blue. Divide by 10, Hidden Citizen. Yeah, so the one thing I did notice when I was streaming this yesterday, there was definitely this feeling of like, this stuff looks really cool, but I just don't think it's for
Turbine
me.
C2
It seems a little complicated.
initiated.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show some of the bounties because they tend to be a little more straightforward unless we find that really rare one again. So it's so interesting to take a look at how I react to this kind of a game. I can't remember who SSA is. Well, this has got 45 seconds, so this is going to be gone anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm still risk averse. So the funny thing here is that for me with reputation, I deeply love my country and I want to be on CSIS's good side, and obviously generating like 150 rep for them is good, but I weight the loss of reputation with with any other faction a little bit higher than the benefit from the others. So this is, and it would be interesting, like this is one of the reasons why. Yep, no, I did see that message last time. It's just I'd rather not, like, I'd just rather do that sort of stuff on my own time. I already spend a lot of time like navigating through windows and things like that on stream, which is not always the best material, but I thank you. I will deal with it on my own when I'm ready to do so. But yeah, so this is one of the reasons why, like, obviously I'm not going to completely transform my career, but I'd always sort of wished that I'd have some way of working with, particularly a gaming company, because one of the things that interests me so much about games is that you have people. I mean, this could technically be true of software in general. But I think one of the things that really interests me here is that in a game, basically you have people who are just like spinning off data all the time. So one of the things that really interests me, and again, with a background in econ and that, I don't necessarily think I'm alone in this, in the fact that, again, there's also going to be people who are elation seeking, but the loss you feel a little bit stronger. And I've always sort of wondered if I could get into a game at some point and just say, it's like, so the number of people who are like offered these sorts of things, like what kind of a player takes a deal where it's like, I'm going to evenly just shift reputation from one group to another one, as opposed to something here where I'm getting a small amount of rep, but it's largely sort of costless. Because obviously that's a individual preference for myself. But other people are going to be like, yeah, I just want to do more hacking things. Also, this has got a fancier banner, so I'm assuming it's a tougher one. But for now, I'm just going to try and get on the good side with everyone. And like one thing I would have loved about Cultist Simulator is to see how many people try every combination of card to create a ritual, and how many people sort of follow the hints. And is there a particular card that they click on? Like, so are the hints working? Is there a sort of a density in terms of people who have clicked on a particular card who then proceed to, unlock this ritual within a certain number of actions? So... I don't know. I hearts and minds, Ryland. The UK's Global Gazette has asked GCHQ for help on finding one of their missing reporters. The reporter is Sebastian Bird from the Global Gazette. All right, this should be a pretty straightforward one because I feel like we've done that on stream before. But anyways, that was a kind of a throat clearing for this. This is probably not a bad example of some of the earlier stuff that you'll be doing inside of the Academy. So the first thing we want to do is find out about the Global Gazette. So we'll do open source intelligence, Global Gazette, and so this one is essentially, we're relying on the fact that, I know this is getting a little repetitive for people who watched yesterday, but essentially what we're doing here is we're relying on the fact that there are companies whose essentially their entire business is to crawl the web and find stuff for us. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do the S-fuzzer again. I feel like I wasted a little more time doing that. But right now, in terms of possible ways into the Global Gazette, we've got these 5 domains which we're now going to fingerprint. So we relied on on Bing or Google or any of these others to look these up for us. The S-fuzzer is basically going to try and use common keywords to see if any of these subdomains come up. So fingerprint www.globalgazette.com, and we're going to run into each of these things until we can find a way into their system so that we can find out about this journalist. And this is, again, one of the things that I find kind of rewarding about this game is that, you know, you've kind of got your basics down. So, you know, for this one, this was the majority of what each mission was for me, which is, you know, you're given a list of things that you need to type in an event. You know, there's always going to be one vulnerability for them. So it's just a matter of, you know, being patient enough to find out where it is. Whereas that last mission was sort of saying is like, okay, so you need to spend a little more time thinking about, you know, what information have you been given? What can you rely on in terms of ideas? And instead of just kind of hammering through a list of like names, you're going to have to sort of make these leaps on your own. So in this particular case here, we found something that we can exploit, Microsoft Exchange. This is very sensibly laid out. So information gathering, network intrusion, data forensics, and advanced tools. Unfortunately, I'm just a little, it's taking a little while, but. Okay, so CVA 2014-0294. Microsoft 4-point protection 2010 for Exchange Server does not properly parse email content, which might allow remote attackers to execute arbitrary code via a crafted message, aka RCA vulnerability, or an alpha exploit script via TCP/IP. Preferred delivery methods, TCP/IP, and exploit to use the alpha exploit script. What am I doing? This is intrusion, so it's Fox Acid.
Fox Acid server connection initiated.
So what did we get? Well, number one, we used Bing to tell us what are the domains that they have. We could check Global Gazette, but right now we're trying to find this guy, Sebastian Bird. So contact us, Global Gazette. Seems like a perfectly plausible place to find this guy. I mean, I suppose I could be a little more sensible and say, well, why don't I just look at contact us right away? That seems to make the most sense. We know that it's got a vulnerability on some of the software that it has, and this database has told us how we can exploit that. So it's TCP/IP and alpha exploit script after midnight, and it already populates the information that we need. So
Fox Acid attack successful.
okay, so this is only going to be open for 10 minutes, so I want to keep an eye on that. But now that we're on the server, there's always one thing that I like to, I've been trying to avoid it, but in this case I'm actually going to try it, which is to do 60 seconds of internal, it's time, not depth. So essentially what this is doing is, because I'm now on Contact Us Global Gazette, there might be something that that isn't available to the outside world. So while I'm just running around inside here, I'm seeing if there's any other details that I can find. Again, just as a reminder, we're looking for the name of the company that they're investigating. So, okay, so it's an active directory here.
Information gathering module initiated.
Yes, this is the one we were doing yesterday, so. Why? So I know the last time we did this, I was trying to use Samantha Bird's information, but that may not actually be necessary. So what we're going to try here is a password attack.
Password attack and intrusion module initiated.
In this case, I'm taking the fact that he's got this Mcache. I'm taking the fact that that's told us about his
Awaiting variables to launch attack.
his Mcache here. Now, what we can do here is Tien Bird. Now, I thought it was 30, but apparently it's 29. Nope, he's not 29. 79. Oh, 40, right. Or 39, rather. Hello, Ed Baver. How you doing? You need something less cute for a pitchfork? Or than a pitchfork? Okay, so we got Peabody. Oh. And I don't think I got the fifth one on this one either. I already did reporter. Yeah, you know what? We'll run with this. Hello, Hidden Citizen. I guess you're already responding to Ed Baver, not me. You've been here before.
Password attack unsuccessful.
All right. I guess I could add more. I don't want to do 6 minutes though. I suppose adding John the Ripper's not gonna do that much for me. I'm trying to remember the last time that I did this one. What ultimately cracked it?
Password attack unsuccessful.
Yeah, all this stuff is too long, so. It's a 0-second attack. Yeah, that's not surprising there. Okay. So maybe what I want to try instead. He's got an editor. So let's see if we can find out what's going on with him.
Target acquired. Awaiting variables to launch attack.
So what I'm doing now is looking for Bruce O'Brien. 1969, so... Yep. So basically I just took whatever information I could find from the user directory.
Password attack
Huh.
unsuccessful.
Well, let's see what we can find about Samantha Bird then.
Password attack and intrusion module initiated.
How about I do this in the right order? So GGHI 2-bit.
Target acquired. Awaiting variables to launch
Okay, so
attack.
similar story here. Now it's Samantha Bird. They are... How typical would it be if the system had a weak, crackable password? Uh... Oh.
Password attack unsuccessful.
So we're in the spot I need to be. I need to find a way to find the work that Sebastian's working on. I suppose the only other thing that I could think of would be... Yeah, so I got 30 seconds left on this thing before it kicks me out.
Password attack unsuccessful.
Okay.
Turbine C2 registry initiated.
No,
Connection
no,
completed.
stop. Well, I just logged on again to get kicked
Turbine
out.
C2 network disconnected.
Okay. So that's fine. We'll just
Fox acid server connection
jump in again.
initiated. Fox acid attack launched. Fox acid attack successful. Connection completed. Information gathering module.
I suppose the other thing I can do, I can try and find... Well, no, see, this wouldn't really work. Because I don't know what phone he would have anyway. So we'll go back to the members directory.
Information gathering module initiated.
So one thing that kind of alerted me a little bit was the fact that I didn't seem to be getting like anywhere in terms of these these password attacks. I feel like it means I'm doing something wrong with the password attacks. So we'll start with Sebastian again, because he's the ultimate target.
Password attack and intrusion module initiated.
So against GG W6A2XB. Yeah, but I mean, there's a time cost to all of that, right? Or are you telling me how to play the game?
Target acquired. Awaiting variables to launch attack.
Okay, so... Huh. Yeah, I mean, so... trying to narrow it down to, so I know eHarmony didn't really do that much. This is the drawback of long runs. I don't have that much to talk about while we wait for this counter to go down. And then if I don't have anything to show for it at the end, I feel like I've wasted everyone's time. We could look at fancy skins. I mean, I suppose the other possibility is I can try running it on the other individuals like O'Brien and Samantha, but the thing is that if he's working on it, I was sort of fishing for the fact that the editor or the editor-in-chief, which he happens to be related to, is going to have a copy of it. There we go.
Successfully compromised.
I still don't know what rock you is, by the way. Oh, so he could have just wrote genome again. All right. Took longer than I was hoping, but... Oh, fair enough. Okay, let's see if we can get this.
Information gathering module initiated.
Okay. So similar here. This is probably more so for the benefit of Ryland. So this one, hopefully, I don't get tripped up by... Oh, I'm still on
Turbine C2 registry. Network disconnected.
Global Gazette's mailed. Oh, that's a shame. I tend to find that if I do these searches, I always make them run too long. Like, I'm sure we would have been able to get these with 500, but I always find the OSINT is generally a bit faster, so I don't mind waiting on the
Information gathering module
run.
initiated.
Okay, so as before, and always keeping in mind that we are looking to find out the media server name. Oh god, I'm so bad at this. Mitemedia.ru. Swimming with vulnerabilities. Nope, nothing. Okay. So, I probably should have ran this in the background, but I'm trying not to... T, not D. And I just got the achievement Terminal Operator 4. Enter 500 commands in a terminal. I feel accomplished. Okay, so there's nothing that we can find on the outside to get us in, so we're gonna have to try and find somebody who works there. I think it's .net. Yeah. This is building a database of the people who work there, and essentially the aim on this one is going to be to try and get somebody to infect their computer with something nasty. Okay, so there's 150 potential people. And I'm always terrible at crafting the email. 63%. Yeah, why not? So 30 didn't go through, 7 went straight to spam, and whoever clicks on the flash file is a business request for cool website. I mean, so to my understanding, it's you build a database of individuals. You try and line up the type of file that they're more likely to open. So obviously, if I'm going to send you some kind of a business report or something like that, I probably want to send that as Microsoft Word. I've only ever seen one payload. And then you try and come up with a somewhat credible looking email, to which I'm assuming there's probably a set of like keywords and whatnot inside of the game that'll work well with, but yeah.
Connection completed.
Okay, so we just need to find the media server, so...
Initiated.
Oh. I always keep forgetting the I. I either give it a D or I give it the I. And while this is running, I think I'm going to try and get that Twitch thing that I had running. So I've switched broadcasting apps, which normally keeps a lot of chat stuff like inside the channel, but unfortunately it keeps a couple of like just measurement things out of reach. Okay, but we can at least turn in the... Okay, and as much as I said that I wanted to do... yeah, I mean, this next bounty might be kind of interesting. How are we looking at time? Hey, the Rambler! Great to see you guys. I don't get a chance. Okay, this is going to be a small break time, but not in the sense that I'm going away. I'm just going to take a minute to bring up all of my tabs and whatnot because we've got a celebrity in here. But no, I want to try and get my I want to try and get all my tools back up. So Nightbot, where are you? And Stream Labs dashboard. All right, so I'm gonna do this in the order that people showed up. So first of all, we've got Johnny Big Time in the channel. Now, Johnny Big Time has been working very, very hard to get like his channel up and running and going and keep sane during life. And for some reason, he seems to have been bombarded with a ton of just sort of IRL problems to keep him from being able to stream. So what I'm going to do very quickly, this is just so I can set up somebody who I really don't get a chance to talk about very often. So apologies, Rambler. Like, you're coming in to check out my stream and I proceed to like not stream. But I really want to show you guys just for a second here, Johnny Big Time, because I shout him out a lot and I always talk about how I really like his style of streaming. Johnny Big Time is very different from me in the sense that he will basically, he tends to do a little bit more action-packed stuff. He also does a better job of keeping the sort of the action going, whereas me, I'm a little more ponderous in my tone. But he is very charismatic. He's got, again, a great sense of humor, and he's got a really wide variety of games that he winds up playing. So one of the things that's a nice side effect of this is he winds up having some of the most clippable moments on a stream. And I'm trying to think of a good clip to show you here. I'm spoiled for choice. I'm gonna try and make it like one of the top. You know what? I think I gotta go for this one. So, oh, stop. Let me bring him up. So here's Johnny in Grand Theft Auto 5. This is something I clipped from him a very long time ago. If I ever get a chance to co-op this game with him, I'm going to be very happy, but...
well, the police are after us, right? Oh, shit. Oh, look at that. Pop the perfect wheelie. Ah! Okay, we're alright. We're gonna weave in and out of these cones to escape the police. They can't follow this shit up. Look at that. Olympic style. Oh!
Anyways, this is the sort of thing you get to see a lot of times on Johnny's website. So he has had a little difficulty getting the stream going on a regular basis. please do check him out because he is a ton of fun to watch for those reasons. On top of that, we have got the Rambler 146. Now, the Rambler 146 I met completely by accident at a bar in Vancouver called EXP, which is sadly no longer with us. And it's a shame because I actually got to meet a few cool people there. The Rambler does this for a living, and I was a little sad to find out that he recently had to go to the hospital, and I found out only after he posted the stuff on Twitch or on Twitter. So my belated condolences, and I'm glad to see that you're better. I know I said something at the time, but obviously I'm sorry to see that. But through it all, Rambler has this amazing ability to keep a positive attitude, like, no matter what. He's definitely he was very focused on Total War, and I think he still is. But what was really interesting is when I first met him at EXP, the Rambler did not, like, we were talking, is like, oh, what do you normally do? It's like, well, you know, I mostly do Crusader Kings. It seems to be a little niche that I fit in all of that. And it was very much a like, oh, I can't really get into that. And I was like, oh, well, that's funny because I really can't get into Total War. Now, since then, the Rambler has yeah, sorry, I probably shouldn't be saying that you're focused on Total War because of what I'm about to say. Rambler has since gone on and has just sort of taken the Hearts of Iron world by storm. He does a lot of that. He did a little Imperator, but I know that one wasn't the most popular of Paradox's games. And then he did, he's done, I think, 2 rounds of the Stellaris sort of YouTuber wars. So, I'd like to say that I'm the guy who got him his start in Paradox, but that would be absolute nonsense. The Rambler is incredibly talented. I would want to say strategy streamer is probably the best overall summary that I could give. Very friendly guy, has a British accent, and so obviously he has immediately 25% more authority in terms of everything that he says. I wouldn't even really fairly call him YouTube focused anymore. He really just does a bit of everything. Please do check him out on Twitch, and if you are so inclined, definitely check out his YouTube channel as well, because I've always sort of seen, I think one of the things that I look at, a lot of people ask about more YouTube specific stuff, and I'd like to do more of it. But then I sort of see what Rambler does, and I'm like, I don't have the time to do anything that is like half of the quality of what he does. But again, throughout it all, like, I have definitely known him sort of through the ups and downs, and his ability to keep a positive attitude throughout is really good. And he's also really good with his channel when they are going too far in terms of sort of their just in terms of whether or not their commentary is being particularly vicious or not. Like, he's done a really good job of being able to just sort of put his foot down, let people know what's acceptable. And I think that's sometimes rare to see on YouTubers, because I know people are always chasing an audience. But anyways, we will jump back into this fascinating game. I think this might be something you're interested in, by the way, Rambler. I don't know how much you care about sort of these hacking style games like Hacknet or not, but this has got a neat little story behind it, and it is sufficiently diverting in terms of its puzzles that it might be a neat one to do that's kind of off the beaten track. But I know you have so many demands in terms of like your time that you probably don't get a lot of chance to do gaming on your own. So this might be something that you just get a chance to kick back and watch as we're enjoying it. So we're going on to the 3rd mission. Welcome to the Andromeda okay, I'm not going to read that.
Damn it. Faye, I'm too angry right now. Can you take this call?
Certainly, Samantha.
This is Morris.
Sam, are you okay? I know that was rough.
Thanks for asking. Yeah, it was hard.
You know they mean well, right?
I know, but I feel like they don't understand the project, what it can do for all of us.
Division 66 can seem opaque at times, but they want what's best for the agency, and sometimes that means playing it safe.
I don't know.
Listen, why don't I come by your office and we can go get a drink or something? Take your mind off this for a while. Or you can rant about it. Either way, some fresh air would probably do you some good.
Thanks for the offer, Kev, but I'll be fine. I just need to keep working.
Alright, no problem. But I am here if you need to talk.
Okay, go undercover as a contractor for Human Solutions Consulting to uncover the truth behind the motivations of the mysterious group.
Following your successful infiltration of Human Solutions Consulting, it is now time to go undercover. We need to know more about their motivations and the scope of their operations. In order to do so, you need to figure out who they are targeting and why. The group uses a simple job posting site on the dark web, open to all members. It operates as a tiered system, so the more grunt work you do for them, the more complex jobs you'll be offered. I ran a quick diagnostic on the nature of the level 1 jobs, and it seems they all revolve around compromising simple ERP system for use in their botnet. It appears the majority of the jobs you've been asked to perform by HSC relate to salami slicing, a technique to hide a larger goal within a series of small, imperceptible actions. HSC is able to access their targets' financial systems and add additional expense reports for small things. A few consulting hours here, a taxi receipt there, that will all be paid to HSC. Individually, these expenses go unnoticed because they are so inconsequential, but done on a large scale, the way HSC is doing it, the technique can generate a large and steady income for the organization. We've loaded a 0-day exploit for the simple ERP into your local host, along with instructions on how to use HSC's job board. Review the details and get to work. Your mission objectives are: access the mission files located in your local host, download the simple ERP exploit package, log into the HSC system's job board, infiltrate the network of HSC's level 1 target, set up the botnet on the network's ERP system, complete your first HSC job.
Okay. So that's a decent, I think it's a decent enough sort of description of what you're getting to. Presumably this is going to be a bit of a tougher one. I actually didn't look at the ratings for everything, but we should be able to get there. I'll take a look at it next time.
Alrighty, time to start your life of crime. Don't worry, I'll be your accomplice. I've already given you access to a 0-day exploit for ERPs that will help with the HSC contracts. I added the file to your local host, along with a message from Sergeant Wheeler. You remember how to log in, right? Just open your file browser and type in localhost as the address. The exploit is called Verboten, which sounds pretty neat, don't you think? I'm reading this new book now, and the author keeps saying that you have to appreciate the little things. You know what? I'll tell you later. You better get to work.
Okay, so by the way, that link that I just put in there, if you do own the game, to my understanding, there are sort of loot drops being rolled in the background. There's no notifications for them. But if you do own a copy of this game and you've got that linked up, I have linked up the stream. Obviously, I can't make any promises that things will be working, but as long as this thing is detecting what it's supposed to be detecting, by watching the stream, you are apparently getting some things for the update that'll be coming out in about a week. Okay, so let's start by looking at the mission briefing. Local host. Okay. So Human Solutions Consulting Contractor Dashboard. Sergeant Wheeler, System HR Consulting DE, accessible via the Hydra terminal. Human Solutions Consulting uses a simple job board to post all contracts. Any accredited member of the group can attempt to complete any contract within their clearance level. Once a contract is complete, the successful member receives aptitude units, AU, within the system to advance in rankings, along with any financial or reputational gains. To view all available contracts, type the command refresh. To attempt a contract, select the contract number from your list, accept it, and then follow the instructions provided. To view all companies related to your clearance level, regardless of your jobs completed, type the command dump. exit out of your current job, type the command abort. Human Solutions Consulting also provides its members with brief summaries of each target company. These summaries may aid you in your infiltration operations, but they will also be useful for us to map out connections between the companies targeted by HSC. Profiles can be downloaded on the job board with the command query target ID.
Great. Now boot up the HSC job board in your Hydra terminal and let's see which fun crimes you get to be part of.
Okay, so before I do that, I want to take a look at the rest of the briefing. So, verboten setup. Verboten is a rootkit that combines multiple known botnets to target specific financial areas in a company's network. It is commonly used for salami slicing attacks and is very difficult to detect through normal means. The bots provided by Verboten need to be triggered in a specific order for them to work properly. Each bot has its own target type. In order to access the Verboten terminal, make sure that you follow the instructions on the previous guide, Simple ERP 0-day exploit, located in the mission folder of your local host drive. Here's a list of different botnets and their designated targets: Smoke Cure, Company Insurance, Solo Pearl, Expense Reports, Roxy, Payroll, Sunga, Taxes, Sugna, and Contact Stem Contracts. The bots are ranked in level of complexity, so in order to increase your chance of a successful attack, make sure that the less complex bots are executed before their more complex counterparts. Run Solo Pearl before Sugna. Once you have set up the botnets, type the following command to confirm your selection, exec deploy, and press enter. I am not going to remember any of this stuff, so I might go to another window. All right, and then Simple ERP 0-day exploit. Simple ERP, Simple Enterprise Resource Planning, is a business management software used by mid-size and large companies around the world. The software uses a database management system that allows access to real-time updates on a wide variety of business processes. Because of this, exploiting the Simple ERP of a company allows the attacker vast access to the inner workings of the target company. To execute the Simple ERP exploit, simply follow these instructions. Connect. Excuse me. Hey, no problem, Rambly. Thank you very much for stopping by. I do appreciate that. Hopefully, if I'm still around, I get a chance to see you again. If not, I will catch you on your side. Simply follow these instructions. Connect to the target network. Find the Simple ERP port information using NetScan and Dig. Start your Fox Acid module and enter the following information. Delivery SCTP, exec code overflow, Verboten. A successful attack will boot up the Verboten terminal automatically. For instructions on how to set up the Verboten botnet, please follow the instructions found in the document entitled Verboten Installation Guide, located in your mission folder in your localhost drive. Okay. I have a feeling that I'm not actually going to... I'm probably going to need to refer to this more than once. Did I just cover up all of my... Yeah, okay. Well, let's just add them to the case file then.
Information gathering module initiated.
And I don't know where the... I don't know how to connect to the job board.
Great. Now boot up the HSC job board in your Hydra terminal and let's see which fun crimes you get to be part of.
Back to my file browser. There we go. I closed one too many.
Information gathering module initiated.
Connect. Punky McMonkey. Yes, I wasn't expecting this originally, but I did find out that people who own this game will be getting some drops by watching the streams, so I thought I would try and do some extra streams. I may not be going for that much longer. I'll do my best, but we'll see. We'll see how far we we go. Okay, use the command refresh to reload the job list. Type help to get a list of all commands. Select tasks by clicking items on your list to the right. Enter confirmation code to complete the job. I think they'll just be the one, but... Okay, so... And... For some reason, I just seem to get this a lot better if I just... For some reason, if I just read it in a terminal, it sticks a lot more. So, aborts current task, returns the job list, dump list of target IDs available at your clearance level. Yeah. So Limbo in Qatar. Limbo is an online social media and social networking service. It allows anyone within a single Wi-Fi network to connect to others on the network. The server is popular with airports, businesses, and schools, anywhere that people are gathered to wait, hence the name Limbo. Oh, that's very cool. Okay. Yeah, so I guess you've signed into the game and like you've got your ID and all of that. That's exceptionally cool that that you supported the developers. So okay, target ID HEC00A overview. Novice agent required to install and configure the verboten botnet on Limbo, the social network startup. Find a vulnerable subdomain, hack into the network, and access the simple ERP backdoor provided by our on-site agent. Limbo.com. This is a fairly new network, so it shouldn't be a problem for novice agents. Once the botnet is installed and configured, enter the configuration number to receive your aptitude, confirmation number to receive your aptitude units. All right then. So as before, we always start with our OSINT and our sfuzzer. So limbo.com. In addition to the fact that it's a really good game, I also really like the fact that it's a Canadian game. So we'll start with
Information gathering module.
we'll start with a fingerprint for what we've already got, but I am going to go back to my habit of setting up an sfuzzer to run for a minute in the background. Finger. So it looks like it just got the three back, but okay, so there's an exploit on login, but while I'm at it, I'll just take a quick look to see if there's anything in apps. In the meantime, we can search for the exploit. PHP. Okay, so it's just the PHP vulnerability that we've got. CVE 2016-4071, format a string vulnerability in the PHP SNMP error function in X SNP SNPC in PHP before 55434, 56X before 5620, and 7X before 705. Allows remote attackers to execute arbitrary code through UDP via format string specifiers in an SNMP get call. It's UDP and an SNMP packet. Same domains as before, so we'll fire up Fox Acid and get to work.
Acid server connection initiated.
Yep. So I believe we just need to go in. I don't believe we need to actually work with verboten yet, so...
Fox acid attack launched. Fox acid connection completed.
Okay, nice. You're in. Now, before you search for the simple ERP and launch verboten, take a second to congratulate yourself. Small achievements are important, and in this hectic modern era, with attention spans... Hey! Did you mute me? Okay, fine. I'll keep the chatter off specific, but I really think you could learn a thing or two.
I love touches like this. Okay, so I'll set up the botnet. This one I'm probably going to just have to refer to the manual again because I do not have a very good memory. Wrong button. Right.
Information gathering module
Net scan.
initiated.
So first of all, we need to find simple ERP. Hey, what do you know? Okay, find simple ERP port information using NetScan and dig. Start Fox Acid, enter the following information. SCTP code, okay.
Fox Acid server connection initiated.
So I believe this is all new stuff we were given anyway, but...
Fox Acid attack launched. Information gathering module initiated.
All right, I will now congratulate myself for a job well done. Connecting to the rootkit connection established. Welcome to Verboten Bash. Type help to get a list of all commands. That always seems helpful. All right, and then the installation guide. So, you trigger a specific order. So, Smoke Cure, Solo Purtle, Roxy, Contact Stem. Just want to double check that I'm doing this right. So bots provided will be triggered. So I believe I need to install them first, I think is the idea. Okay. All right then, so let's do that all again. So smoke. Okay, so let's just, I'm going to go right from the beginning to make sure that I haven't completely lost my mind. So there's nothing here. Okay, so there's nothing on the job board that I need. Simple ERP zero-day export. Simple ERP is a business management software used by mid-sized to large companies around the world. The software uses a database management system that allows users access to real-time updates on a wide variety of business processes. Because of this, exploiting the simple ERP of a company allows the attacker vast access to the inner workings of the target company. To execute the simple ERP exploit, simply follow these instructions. Connect to the target network. Find the simple ERP port information using NetScan and dig. Start your Fox Acid module and deliver SCTP exec code overflow verboten. A successful attack will boot up the verboten terminal automatically. For information on how to set up the verboten botnet, please follow the instructions found in the document titled the Verboten Installation Guide located in your mission folder on your local host drive. So that we didn't have any problems with. It seems to be me understanding the verboten program. So verboten is a rootkit that combines multiple known botnets to target specific financial areas in a company's network. It is commonly used for salami slicing attacks and is very difficult to detect through normal means. The bots provided by verboten need to be triggered in a specific order for them to work properly. Each bot has its own target type. In order to access the verboten terminal, make sure that you follow the instructions on the previous guide, Simple ERP Zero-Day Exploit, located in the mission folder on your local host drive. Here is a list of the different botnets and their designated targets. Smoke Cure, Company Insurance, Solo Pearl, Expense Reports, Roxy Payroll, Sugna Taxes, and Contact Stem Contracts. The bots are ranked in level of complexity, so in order to increase your chance of a successful attack, make sure that the less complex bots are executed before their more complex counterparts, e.g. run Solar Pearl before Sugna. Once you have set up the botnets, type the following command to confirm your selection, exec deploy, and then press enter. So actually, in this particular case, I'm going to bring up that document just side by side. Okay, so it won't give me any more information on... Okay, so, okay, so, a conflict or misconfiguration with the bots. There must be something I'm missing about the contract. Ah, I don't need to deploy all of them. I need the contracts and payroll. Okay. So... Okay, so I think what I should have done was run, so payroll is simpler than contracts. I like that you enjoy me figuring this stuff out, Johnny, because I'm always really worried when I get into these moments where I'm stuck, whether or not it's enjoyable to go through. One of the things too is that I think, so here's the funny thing about this, Johnny, like I am a little bit further on in the game, so this definitely makes it seem a little bit more tougher than it is. I have a feeling that one thing that you might like about this game. And I don't know how much of your like background you want to give away on this, but where you got your name from, like your online name, I have to assume that there was at least some part of you that wanted to know that. And so one of the things that's really nice about games like this is that they take away the really frustrating parts of it, and instead they just leave you with the fun. So like obviously, I don't feel great. Like, Twitch is a really big stage to like miss out on, it says contracts and payroll in all capital letters, and to see me just try the same thing multiple times and not see it go through. Like, obviously, it would be nice if the entire internet didn't see me make a mistake like that. But it's fun. I like working at this kind of stuff. If I make a dumb mistake, well, that's fine, because that's just a point where I'm like, clearly the way I was thinking about this game was not correct. And so it's an opportunity for me to learn. It's obviously a very internal thing for me. It's not I'm not going to say that everyone needs to, to be grateful that I've had this moment where I've overcome my own ignorance. But it's rewarding to hear that you're getting something out of it. So, but yeah, I think oddly enough, like, I don't just say this because I'm really into the game. I think this might be something that you potentially enjoy for the fact that they have sort of abstracted away some of the harder things. Although I was under the impression that you might have gotten something through that key mailing service either. So.
Beautiful. Well done. And now you're moving up in their world, so we'll have a chance to do more crimes.
But I mean, for what it's worth, Johnny, like when I taught computer science, I was a TA, we used, so the programming language was called Racket, but the actual language that we used is called the beginning student language. And so what they did was they basically like hid all the complicated parts away from us when we started. And then slowly over time, they would introduce more and more features so that you'd be building like real programs. I think it's an excellent way to teach people. It's actually something that this game does here. Like originally, we're just looking for like, okay, go through this list, find out which one has the vulnerability, and now you need to make it work. Obviously, this training mission, right? It's not like there was not a written documentation to say, hey, here's exactly what you need to do. But could you imagine what it would have been like if I did a mission where it didn't explicitly say, hey, you don't need to run the entire botnet every single time? So in this particular case here, it's a nice little stepping stone towards doing something a little more elaborate. Like obviously that last mission, even though I needed to do it over like yesterday and today, it was really fun because it's like, oh hey, this is an interesting kind of a puzzle. I've got all these references to a favorite work, and I feel a little lost. It's fun to be in this. Apparently the Germans are going to be mad at me. Okay, so for Nitro Winter, it's investigation, minimal real life, level average, so apparently the same as Dark Sentinel. And ambience by age. Okay. So, on to Black Forest.
We're in, but we need more. It is still unclear for us how HSC and Dr. Ripper managed to get their hands on Night Team 4 tech. In order to gather more intel on HSC, you'll need to access the higher level jobs within their ranks. Work your way up their system and download the company profile of each target you encounter along the way to help us better understand the scope of their attack. Your mission objectives are: access the level 2 jobs on HSC's job board, download the company profiles of all level 2 targets, reach rank 3 on HSC's job board.
Okay, so we might have to do multiple jobs on this one, but that's fine.
We're getting somewhere. Take a look at these jobs and the companies being targeted. I doubt you'll need to complete all these contracts to move up to the next clearance level, so only go after the companies you think could take the financial hit. Remember, you're siphoning money away from each target, so don't go crazy and complete all the jobs. Try and download all the target profiles, though. That won't hurt the companies, and it'll allow me to do some research into what connects them all.
Yeah, I absolutely love the idea. There's got to be at least someone who's played this game where they're like, nope, I want more things to hack. I'm going to bankrupt the... Okay, so let's start by querying the target. Just see 048. Okay, Candlelight Web Design is in Israel. Net worth 68 million. They're compromised. Candlelight is a web design software service company providing customers with pre-built template websites that can be customized with drag and drop elements. Once the free version of the professional web design tool Candlelight split from its parent company in 2017 to focus solely on the consumer market. I remember there's like a dump command somewhere.
Turbine C2 registry initiated.
I guess this counts as a rogue network.
Network disconnected.
Okay. Oh, there's quite a few. No, we already did that one. Okay, Artishina Designs, artishina.com, location Chad in Laila Akua, art auction and vendor 59 million. Artishia Designs is an art auction house offering online bidding and international sales. It allows museums, galleries, and private collectors to create their own online storefront, as well as hosting large open auctions for important pieces. Unlike many other online e-commerce services, Artishia allows its clients to customize the design of their digital storefronts and offers a premium service that turns the storefronts into standalone websites. My Ancestry.com in Kuwait, Samil Al-Ghalaf, Genealogy DNA Lab, high net worth. My Ancestry is a genetics research company built to provide consumers with insights into the specifics in their ancestry. They combine their in-depth heritage research with DNA testing to provide detailed historical and genetic profiles that cover everything from global migration trends to specific village lineages. So Generate web hosting, also in Israel, 72 million. Generate is the largest web hosting provider in Israel. The company also provides reseller VPNs and domain name registration. A strong supporter of startup culture in Israel, Generate offers free.il domain names to small businesses in the region, along with corporate mentorship and training.
Great, thanks. Now, I'll get to work looking into these companies, but I did notice that they're all based in Arabic countries. Anyways, good luck with the jobs. I'll monitor your progress, but I'm confident you've got it from here. Remember, only complete as many jobs as it takes to get to the next rank. There's no reason you should cause more damage than you need to.
Yeah, that's actually really funny. JGV97. Oh, it does give you an achievement? Or maybe you're just saying that to bait me into doing that more. Yeah, well, I mean, this kind of comes back to the thing. Like, again, I'm definitely, if I have an edge on something, it would much more be analytics than that. But like, there's a side of me, like, I would love to see stuff like, how many players do go beyond, what they need to. Is there something like, there's a side of me, I would have a couple of hypotheses in terms of how people might react to the bounty board in terms of like negative reputation. And people who do these sorts of things. Now, what types of insights you can get out of that, I'm not quite as sure. That's a little harder for me to, it's a little bit harder for me to sort of to reconcile. But it's one of these ones where, again, we were talking about how in games, like, players always just spin off a lot of information about how they're playing it just through playing the game. And it seems like such a rich data set to be able to query. It'd be really interesting to sort of work in analytics on a game like that. I realize, too, there's like an element of analytics where it's like you need to actually, like, you know... Sorry, I need to prioritize which group. I should have been writing this down at the time. Obviously, there's like the analytics job where it's like, you know, you actually need to make money for the company. But aside from that, like, it'd just be so interesting to derive some insights in terms of players' behavior, in terms of what type of game you have, how people, like, you know, obviously people have something in mind when they make a game, which may not necessarily be the same as it may not necessarily be the same as what the creators had in mind. So it turns out we missed one. So Bixen banking. Salami. Nice. You're welcome to use the dot here, by the way. Generally, I have the belief that if somebody does something nasty, I will just, you know, bring the hammer down separately. So it is kind of interesting that I got the marker without looking at Bixen Bank, and this is the one that isn't in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many jobs are there? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's a sixth one. Apparently there's a job for Bixen Banking, I guess. Status unbreakable. The Bixen Bank is a UK-based multinational investment bank and financial services company with central hubs in New York City, Toronto, Hong Kong, Tokyo, and Seoul. Bixen was formed in 1980 and is the third largest banking institution in the world. As part of the Big Four, it services approximately 30.47% of all European bank deposits. Its primary financial services revolve around commercial banking, wealth management, and investment banking. Okay, so I'm sorry to do this to everyone, but I do want to prioritize targets. So, by the way, I will actually say one thing I really like about this approach to the game is generally when you think of like a hacking game, you tend to associate it with criminal activity, and yet probably one of the more interesting stories of the last while has been government use of these tools. So I think that's another like, it's, to me, it's like one of these ones where it's like, oh yeah, well that would be obvious, but I can't really think of another game that's actually taken that approach. So it's one of these ones that's only obvious in hindsight, but I really like it. So okay, and this tree is 81 million. I'm just writing something on my notepad here. I know the game gives me a notepad, but I'm old school. Generate 72. And then Coronautica. I think Coronautica was priority 1. Okay, so Coronautica, Ancestry, and then generate if we have to. Obviously, you know, whether or not the company can take those sorts of hits. Well, what are their margins like? You know, net worth is only one indicator. No. Okay, so intermediate agent required to install and configure the verboten botnet on Coronautica, the nautical navigation company that caters to multimillionaires and their yachts. Is that how they call it? Did I not read this? Is a technology company focused on nautical navigation GPS devices and services. Their flagship GPS EA line of products allows consumers to access anonymized commercial shipping data to bring industry innovations to hobbyist boaters. I love these comparisons, by the way. Multimillionaires in the yacht. Hack your way inside and find the ERP servers, then access the simple ERP backdoor that we've already set up for you. Domain Coronautica.com, this nautical navigation company deals with clients all over the world, but they mostly cater to Arabian royalty. Our on-site consultant overheard that they've set up a new subdomain and it has not been secured yet. Look for anything out of the ordinary when scanning their networks. Once you have installed and configured the botnet, enter the confirmation number to receive your aptitude units. Objective: infiltrate Coronautica's internal server, locate the ERP system, install, configure, and deploy verboten. We will require access to the insurance and taxes. Okay. You think the developers should do a mission focused on darknet markets and tracing crypto with high-end tools? That would be cool. That would be a really interesting set of missions. I mean, again, I haven't touched any of the story stuff yet. I'm slowly progressing through the main missions, but I can definitely see some things. Of course, there's also the hive mind network, so it could be that somebody might implement that even without the developers. .com. So be the periodic reminder. It's a lot. It's a lot of sites. For those of you who do own the game and have not linked yourselves up, apparently there are going to be some items that are dropping with the update. So again, I'm just going from information that people have said in chat. Apparently, there will be notifications that pop up saying that somebody's gotten stuff. But that will not be in the current form of the game. I believe that will be after the patch. So if you've not linked up yet, I have linked up my account. I obviously can't say if it's worked as intended. So obviously, if you are just here to check that stuff out, you know, you might wind up disappointed. It is also probabilistic, so I can't guarantee that anyone will be getting anything. But yeah. It is actually one of the main reasons why I'm doing this right now. Is I really try to do my best to do more casts, and it's often very hard for me to do. But when there's a special event going on, and especially with a game like this, which I really enjoy, it's a nice little way to try and give back. So. Oh, that's really cool, Ryland. Did it like tell you in the game or? Oh my god, this is why. Okay, guys, like this is gonna be one of the reasons why I stopped playing this game. Please stop telling me how to play the game. Like, even if I'm doing it a way you think is wrong, like the whole point of this thing is for me to enjoy the experience of going through it. Like. It sent a notification on Twitch. Okay, that's really good to hear, Rylan. Like, I am sorry that I'm getting more like whiny about this, but this is 100% the difference between me streaming this game again and not streaming it again, because it's over time, while I've had this wonderful experience of like the developers coming in and some people being able to get it as well, the every single time somebody tells me to do something in this game, that is something I weigh against the decision to stream the game again. And I don't want a cool game like this and all of the effort that they've put in, especially when they gave me some nice like skins and things along that line. Like, I do not want people who would otherwise have enjoyed this thing or benefited from the stream to go on to get ruined by people telling me how to play the game. Also very cool, Falwell. So yeah, thank you guys for letting me know about the drop notifications, because that, like, this is the thing, I don't want to be telling people that there's that there's this thing going on and that I've hooked myself up, and then find out that it I missed out on a really obvious thing to link them together. So I mean, you say that, Ebentane. I have had a mod before, but I just think it's a culture thing, right? Like, if everybody enjoys this game for the process of figuring things out, I don't see why there needs to be special moves that other people are doing. Like, it's not hard for me to go and just ban people. And that is, like, as far as I'm concerned, if somebody needs to be, like, if somebody needs to get get silenced on that, I am more inclined to ban than timeout, because usually what happens with a timeout is somebody just starts litigating, well, you didn't say in the rules I can't spoil. The best that I can just say is that if you go and watch somebody like Man vs. Game or something like that, it is expected and people adhere to a no backseating and no spoilers outfit. And I just think the fact that I'm a smaller streamer doesn't necessarily mean that people's behavior should be any different. I definitely feel that the expectation should be on people to, invite. So, like, one thing that worked well for a while is, introducing, the option is available. Let me know if you'd like it. I think that's totally fine, because some people really do benefit from being being assisted. And obviously I don't want to shut down people being able to talk about the game, but I think, imposing another restriction on a content creator, saying it's like, you need to bring in people to police us, I think is not the right way to go about it. I think that communities need to be a little bit better at kind of allowing their enthusiasm to stop, not to spoil the experience for other people. But again, I don't want to make a big deal about it. It's just like, it is worth, I just want to be clear on the context for this. Like, this, it was a thing that I had in mind when setting up the stream, and especially after doing a stream where I feel like it's been particularly egregious on a special day. It's just one of those things that makes me retreat back into my normal patterns. Because, like, if somebody backseats me in a Stellaris game, like, that's, there's just a very different kind of atmosphere for that. Usually they're just gone within a couple of minutes. But again, I want to do something that helps people enjoy the game through being able to get these drops. So.
Initiated.
Okay. Poor Johnny's trying to enjoy, like, Insurgency Sandstorm, and he gets to hear me complain. I'm sorry.
Fox acid attack launched.
This is why I like having you in here, Johnny.
Fox acid attack successful.
Speaking of turning things around, W. Shand was playing Desert Bus. That was an experience. Okay, so this should be straightforward at this point, but I'm assuming it's going to throw me at least a couple of.
Initiated.
It's probably going to throw me a couple of curveballs just to see what's going on. Yeah, well, that's just it. Like, Warink, thank you very much for the follow. This is one of the big things, is that I definitely feel that there is an atmosphere, and part of this is like the Dark Souls stuff, right? Like the attitude that says, you know, get good or whatever. I think by and large on Twitch, we could stand to accept that games are actually quite fun when you fail at them. You know, I have enjoyed this game as much when I'm feeling a little bit lost. Like, the thing that's really good about this game, and I think this is more of a testament to the care that's been put in the design of the game, is that where I have felt lost, I have not necessarily felt frustrated. There are very clearly games where it's like, why isn't this stupid thing working? And you're like, I don't feel like I've been given the information that I need to move forward. This one has always been a matter of, oh, I didn't think of it that way. I should have done X, Y, and Z. And that's, you know, it's a very subtle thing, but it's it's really worth, in my opinion at least, it's worth recognizing when developers are able to achieve that, because it's rare, and it's one of the things I really like about Night Team. But with that in mind, that means that part of the fun of Night Team, for me at least, is when things are not working properly. And I mean, as you know, as those Johnny clips sort of show, some of the most fun of a game can just come from when things don't work right. Nobody wants to die in Grand Theft Auto, but obviously Johnny getting smoked by a police car while he's congratulating himself for pulling the perfect wheelie, that's really fun, and that creates a good moment. So I think what Ebentane's talking about here, somebody, you know, pulling their hair out, going through a hive mind module, to the amusement of all, is a really good one. Yeah, well, that's just it. Like, so when you do hive mind, I've been considering picking up the hive mind thing. Do you just get one, or can you make more than one? Because, like, I know in Occupy White Walls, you're allowed to... Sorry, I completely forgot what it was. Insurance and taxes. So that's Smoke Cure and Sugna. Like in Occupy White Walls, you're allowed one gallery. But I don't know if you get to create more than one... You get one at the start and can apply for an... Okay, so that seems like a really fair... that seems like a really fair system to avoid clutter.
Nice one. Glad you're making progress. I'm still unclear why HSC is targeting these companies. I'll keep digging and let you know what I find.
Okay, cool. So that probably took longer than most do, but it makes me feel... It makes me feel like I'm not completely blowing it in terms of...
Turbine C2 registry. Network disconnected.
In terms of the jobs. Okay, so I think our next one was going to be Ancestry. So I'll probably have to do 3 jobs. This is not the one. All right, intermediate agent required to install and configure the verboten botnet on My Ancestry, the popular genealogy DNA lab. Find a way to get inside their ERP servers and access the simple ERP backdoor provided by our on-site agent. I think I might have seen it. Isn't it on the Steam page? The HiveMind editor? Domain myancestry.com. This network appears to have multiple tiers set up across the web. Make sure to scan popular search engines to find all possible domains attached with this genetics company. Once the botnet is properly configured, enter the confirmation number to receive your aptitude units. The HiveMind editor, Johnny? Actually, okay, so it's Ebentane, if you want, feel free to share your link. I'll bring this up in the store page because, I mean, again, like, this is something that you can buy. I'll talk a little bit, like, I'm trying to do my best to, like, come up with the balance between the two. Oh, you know what? I probably can't change the font size. Let me bring this up on the Steam website. Again, I know I have a tendency to sort of be very chatty on my own. Punky McMonkey caved and bought the game. That's awesome. Thank you, by the way, guys, for supporting it. So for me personally, when people say that they bought the game off of something that I stream, that keeps me going, right? I will talk about stuff that frustrates me, but I also need to talk about the stuff that makes me feel good. And finding out that people enjoy a game enough to pick it up and sort of move on, that really does make me feel good, and it's one of the things that keeps me going in terms of streaming. Obviously, like, I do not view myself as a salesman, but it is definitely one of these things where it makes me happy to know that people kind of are connecting with this stuff, because, I mean, again, I like sharing unusual things. But anyways, so with that in mind,
I would never want to belong to any
JGV97531, thank you very much for that follow. One of the things that I do want to point out, and again, like I said, I know I have a tendency to chat quite a bit. Good news is you guys are still getting your goodies, so yeah, I still need to catch up with all of the announcements that are involved with this thing. So, like, I just found out exactly what's entailed in the update with the Goliath and whatnot. But I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of the business side of things. Now, it's worth keeping in mind, so I am just an interested outsider. I don't have any real connection in terms of game development. I don't make games. I know a couple of people who make games now. But here we go. 1904 Military Hacking Division. This is a game that had a Kickstarter. You can get a demo if you want. I am told that apparently demos decrease sales, but if you want to try it out, you can do it. If you want to buy it, now you get to find out what Canadians pay, a whole bunch of bundles and whatnot. But one of the things that I find so interesting about this game is this. I mean, there's the soundtrack, which is all well and good, but we go to the network administrator. So now this is obviously something that, I mean, this is essentially what you're paying for a brand new game, or like a subscription to something like, you know, the Origin Access. And they warn you ahead of time, right? Warning, the editor is still in the first beta version. Many modules need exact configuration to work. Until we have all of the guides and tutorials published, we've set up a dedicated Discord channel to help network administrators build their HiveMind. So, like, this is clearly, and I mean, if you want the deluxe edition, you can spend even more. The big thing about this, though, is that this is absolutely the way I think games should be made. So if you think about a game like this, like, the one thing that amazes me about Allison Smith, this is the company, is that they're able to make a game which relies on a fairly steady drip of content. If you solve all the puzzles, there's nothing else for you to do, because if you go back and try and solve the thing that you already know the answer for, it's not the same, right? So, of course, one of the ways that games have overcome this is user-generated content. But, of course, the next challenge is that not everyone is going to be making a level. And sometimes if you give that away for free, like a perfect example, right? Cultist Simulator has had modding tools in it from the very beginning. And there are people making mods for that game, but there isn't necessarily something that has completely been like, this is like a new DLC, you have to have this. Paradox games, on the other hand, people almost always play the DLC, or not DLC, the user-generated content. So different games have different approaches. And I think there's something really neat about this one, which is that people who are really invested in the game can pay to do this. It's not necessarily something that everybody in this chat is necessarily going to want to do, but this is a great way of generating revenue for the game. On top of that, it means that there is a level of dedication involved in the type of content that's being added into the game. I think this is what the tool looks like here. I don't know if I'm muting, giving a little sample of what it looks like. And I enjoy this game so much that I am seriously considering picking this thing up. I'm gonna, maybe wait on the sale. We'll see. I still need to figure that out. But this is definitely the sort of thing that I'd love to see more in terms of games, because this is a really great way to basically say that, the people who want to experience Night Team 4, you've got some set here, and this is the amount that they're willing to spend for it, $40, $30, depending where your region is. And then you've got another set of people who are like, they want to spend more money on this game. They're really into it, and they want to have a deeper level of investment inside of the game. And they do so in such a way that not only supports the game financially, but it supports the game in terms of generating more things for people to engage with. And I personally really like this approach to game development. Another game that did interesting things with this was the game Chaos Reborn by Snapshot Games, Julian Gollop's company. Although they changed that format, I believe now you can earn the ability to create realms by playing the game, where previously that was something that you would buy at a different backer tier. So the network tools give you access to the PlayFab toolset as a player, access for the devs to help you do things in your hive mind, and even the possibility of making player-made missions, operation theaters with the devs. That's very cool, yeah. So this is the sort of thing, like, obviously we see a lot of this stuff on Kickstarter, and I'm sure that's probably where the origin of some of those things came from. But yeah, I'm definitely really interested in these different ways that game developers have been able to make sort of interesting games that don't necessarily have the same, mass appeal that others might. So, like, here's the thing. If you want to make a game that has a very broad sort of recurring... sorry, just one second. Ancestry.com. If you have such a large... So if you want something with, like, a really big and seemingly insatiable appetite, some kind of survival crafting game. Interesting. Did I get this wrong? And see, yes. Oh yeah, I did. Another survival crafting, or, there was this GDC talk basically about sort of making these sort of, not exactly procedural, but like these recurring or regenerating kinds of games. I'm trying to think of the best way for me to articulate it, but I think it's Adam Vogel. Anyways, he's the guy who made the Castle Doctrine. But the thing is that I don't necessarily want every game to feel like I'm on a big treadmill, and that there's, I'm always going to go, so something like a Fortnite game where, sure, the map's always the same, and I'm just going in, and it's going to be a unique set of players and stuff that was found in the environment, and there's never really going to be an end to it. It's just I'm always going to go in on the next round. I'm somebody who loved playing Dota, so I have a taste for a kind of a game like that. But I would be very sad if games like Night Team 4 went away. And so I like the fact that Alice and Smith seem to have... No, I mean, again, I don't know if it's successful, but I like that they've been able to build this thing where there was enough interest in a Kickstarter, and there's obviously enough people to be interested enough that, I'll stream the game and have people show up. And that there are people who will sort of pay up for the network administrator to sort of make sure that I kind of have this stream of interesting games to continue to play. I don't know. It's obviously a new way of making games, but it seems like a really rewarding way of going about it too. All right, so this might be one that I need to do this set on. Interesting. I think I'm going to go a little deeper.
Gathering module initiated.
Okay, so I feel like these were the ones that we already went through. I suppose the other thing that I could try to do would be...
Information gathering module initiated.
Let's see if anything else comes out of these IP addresses. There we go.
Information gathering module initiated.
DNA profiles. I should probably be carrying on with the okay. Branch. So here, here I'm just trying to follow whatever threads that I can find. Okay, did I get this one? 48114. That's a little weird that nothing came up. I would have thought that at least the basic, the previous result that I got would have come up, but let's move down the list. Okay, so we've got an API and a test. API branch 1. So we're stuck if we can't figure out what's going on here. got him. I probably shouldn't have closed that because I'm actually going to need to work this out backwards. But let's start by jumping in where we need to be.
Server connection initiated.
Okay, I also need to find out what the exploit is. So
Information gathering module
search.
initiated.
I don't remember if we've got the OpenSSL before. CV 2016-2842, the DOAPR ouch function in CryptoBio bprint-C and OpenSSL 102/102G does not verify that a certain memory allocation succeeds, which allows remote attackers in TCP/IP to cause denial of service via exec code overflow attacks, or possibly have unspecified other impact via a long string, as demonstrated by a large amount of ASN1 data. So
Fox acid server connection
now
initiated.
we do the thing. So TCP/IP, exec code overflow. That's probably why we haven't seen it before, because we didn't have that exploit before, I think.
Fox
All right,
acid
so there's a
attack launched.
there's a like a degree of separation. I don't know if I'm actually going to. Oh no, yeah, this is still
Connection
ancestry, so
completed.
we're in good shape there. I'm gonna leave this open just in case, but
Information gathering module initiated.
we'll see if we have the ERP on here, and then we don't need to worry anymore. Okay, so nope. Fair enough.
Fox acid server connection initiated. Fox acid attack launched.
And expense reports.
Information gathering module initiated.
You're here somewhere. Did they open it? Okay, well, that's fair. That's actually probably even slightly more helpful. So we just need solo Pearl. Cool. So that was a fairly straightforward. It almost feels like when that one was made, it was sort of like, all right, we made them work so much. Let's not give them any more. Let's not give them any more trouble. All right, so probably need to do the third one, and then I'm assuming we get to level level 3. But let's clean up.
Turbine C2 red network disconnected.
Okay, so our third option was generate. It was like the Israeli web startup. Okay, intermediate agent required to install and configure verboten botnet on Generate, the web hosting company featured on the Forbes 100 startups of 2018. Find the ERP server and access the simple ERP backdoor, which we have set up ahead of time. Provided info, domaingenerate.com. The web hosting company has recently set up a VoIP system which allows employees to connect to the internal network through their phones. Use this information to your advantage. Once you have installed and configured the botnet, enter the confirmation number to receive your aptitude units. This is actually kind of neat. So obviously they say, so I think my guess here in terms of the choices that they made is they gave that line in terms of saying, like, pick the companies that you think can afford it. And so the top 3 net worth companies all sort of use each of the different types of tools, and so I think it's probably a way that they've wound up reinforcing some of the ideas in terms of that you should know ahead of time. I like this sort of stuff because especially when it used to be that this is a little bit of an exception playing on the weekend, but obviously having this little reinforcement when it's potentially been a week since I played the game is sort of nice, because obviously I was messing up in terms of things like the file browser and whatnot too. All right, so let's just start with
Information gathering module initiated.
I hope I got that right. Yeah, it's generate.com. So we still need to actually get into the internal network, but...
Information gathering module initiated.
Yep. So we've got portal and gateway left. No IPs either, so if I don't find anything interesting here, I'm gonna have to think a little bit. Okay, well, that answers that.
Information gathering module initiated.
CVE 2008-1106, the management interface of the Akami client allows remote attackers to bypass authentication through TCP/IP via an HTTP request that contains 1. No referrer header, or 2. A spoofed referrer header that matches an approved domain, which allows remote attackers to conduct cross-site request forgery (CSRF) attacks and force the client to download and execute arbitrary files. Preferred method TCP/IP and using content spoofing. Okay.
Fox acid server connection initiated.
So, content spoofing.
Fox acid attack launched. Fox acid attack SIP connection completed.
So, based on what the briefing has told us here, they've set up the VoIP system, allows employees to connect to the internal network, so on and so forth. My suspicion here is I'm not actually going to find the ERP on its own, that I'm likely going to need to use the aircrack. But
gathering module initiated.
Let's not get things more complicated. I've not done any open world missions. I'd like to, because that really does sort of jump into the sort of thing that I find so interesting about these games, which is to use real life information. I am obviously not clever enough to do anything like that well, but that's not the point. Like, just being able to, just being able to have that experience and see, how they've brought sort of the headlines almost to the experience. I think probably what I'll do is I'll do like the base missions first, and then I'll use that as sort of my new game plus, because it also sort of seems like, at least from the little bit that I saw on their updates, it seems like most of the updates interesting. It seems like most of the updates seem to be kind of built around the like around these open world missions. But I don't know, maybe I should have just gone into them from the beginning. Okay, so Mikash was definitely a new one.
Information gathering module initiated.
Okay, so this is kind of interesting. It says simple ERP in Mcache, but that's not actually being listed as something that I can exploit. That seems...
Fox acid server connection.
I think it's because I have to actually be in the system before I can do that, but... So I'm assuming this will... Yeah.
Fox acid attack failed.
Yeah, so I need to find a way into this thing somehow. Did I try a set? Okay. So, Mcache is the only thing that I found internally. I don't think there's any active directories for me to work with. Oh no, employees AD. Although I do want to see something on...
Information gathering module initiated.
Okay. Oop. So it's just a big list of usernames, I suspect. So I suppose I will try IT before anything. The newest open world is actually kicking your butt and you've been playing since alpha. Yeah, well, I mean, I think I have to feel like that's the right way to go. Like if it's like, I have to suspect to a certain degree. Ah, this is where I got it wrong.
Network intrusion module initiated.
Oh, I don't seem to have a way of it's got to be the Huawei phone that's that's insecure, right? Ah! Okay, well, I'll try these in order, I guess. There's a lot of people to be going through on here, though, so I feel like there's a step that I'm... I feel like there's a step that I'm kind of blundering through. Because I don't think the game usually makes me go through big, long lists of things without... Okay, well... There we go. But yeah, so like, it seems to me that if you're making content for a game like this, it's probably going to take... I mean, I'm sure for some degree of complexity, there's maybe like a little extra investment in time in terms of puzzles and things like that. But presumably you want there to be like enough of a challenge that that people kind of feel like they're satisfied over a while, but not... I suppose the other side to that is you don't want to like scare off new players, but at least for people like me, like I've still got the main story mission to go through, so Okay, to everyone, VoIPs are set up. Hey everyone at Generate, you should have just received your custom office VoIP cell phone. So in case you need to work from home or anywhere outside the office, just click on the hotspot button on your new phone settings and it'll be just like you were here. You can even plug it into your computer and it'll use your phone's connection. Neat, right? Just don't use it for personal browsing though. I see everything. It's really easy to use and now you can work anytime, anywhere. If you're having trouble with the connection, just send me an email or give me a call and I'll sort it out. Thanks, Isabel. Just had a simple ERP consultant from HSC install the system. Really like the sleek design, and it's really easy to use. Name fits, but it seems a bit slow to run sometimes. Not a big deal, though. Probably our hardware that's too old.
Connection completed.
Okay. So this is the part I'm a little less clear about.
C2 registry initiated.
I feel like I'm supposed to be able to connect to I feel like I'm supposed to be able to connect to one of the servers right now, but I'm
Turbine C2 registry initiated.
oh right, because this is a phone that I'm on.
Turbine C2 registry initiated. Turbine C2 registry initiated.
Or am I? Okay, so let me just think. Maybe there's something in this sent mail. This is sent mail. Okay. So again, I need to get into one of the Generate servers. I'm slightly curious. I think I'm just going to do a 15-second run on this one. I'm curious if the Mcache shows up again. I feel like the file browser isn't the right way to go on this, but yeah. Okay, and apparently this doesn't count for trying to access that. All right, so
Information gathering module initiated. Information gathering module initiated.
oh, I get it now. So apparently this makes sense. I've connected to that system through their hotspot. Okay, so the rest of this is
Fox acid
I can say the
certification
words, but it doesn't
initiated.
actually quite link in terms of where I am right now. But turning on the personal hotspot has connected me to the server that I need, which means I can finally do this bit of nasty business.
Fox acid attack launched. Information gathering module initiated.
And we need payroll and contracts, so that is Roxy and contact stem. Cool. Mission complete. And as always, we'll tidy up.
Network disconnected.
Now the question is, do I want to go for the achievement or not? And the answer is no. I'm a good boy. Okay, so do I want to try a chapter 3? I don't know how many chapters there are. The catch here is that I just had breakfast. I haven't actually had dinner yet. Oh, and sorry, Roland and Ebentane, I actually missed out on the going to lurk mode, but I'm glad. It seems like you're back in time. So I'm feeling the same division that I have. Yeah, that's just it. I had a small bowl of oatmeal in the morning, and that was it. And then, so some of you are new to the cast. So the deal is my normal casting days are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday's dedicated to Paradox games. Wednesday is dedicated to Cultist Simulator, and then Friday is sort of my free day, which has now become my Night Team 4 day because due to popular demand. But the catch is that so I've been trying to come up with ways to like fill in the off days. And what I've been doing so far has been on Tuesday there are pre-recorded episodes of the Elder Scrolls Daggerfall right now. We did Elder Scrolls Arena before. And then on Thursdays there's a little bit more of a relaxation-oriented Surviving Mars stream. So a lot of people have said that they enjoy falling asleep to the sound of my voice in the broadcast. And so I wanted to do something that was tailored for them. Now, the thing is that those videos get recorded on the weekend, and if I don't get those videos done on the weekend, they don't happen. So, always, I think the best that I can sort of say, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Here is the way I'm going to thread this. I think here's the way I'm going to thread this needle. Miss Fun, thank you very much for the follow. So the good news for you guys is that this is this will be like a longer outro. Actually, you know what? Maybe is there a quick bounty I can do? Yeah, let's do the Yemen bounty. That'll be what I finish off on, because that should be fairly straightforward. So here's how I'm going to try and navigate my competing priorities.
Information gathering module initiated.
I am going to I'm going to wrap it up for now. Although obviously I've got I've got this final session that I'm going to do. I'm going to record the Elder Scrolls tonight if I can, and I am going to do my absolute best to record Surviving Mars early tomorrow so that I can try and do a Night Team 4 stream tomorrow. Again, my hope here is Mikabeek27, thank you very much for that follow as well. So the thing is, like, if I have my preferences, I will stream this game tomorrow. Because the thing is, like, if people are getting stuff for watching, I enjoy playing this game enough to be willing to do some extra weekend things. Like, I've got no problems with that. By the way, if you guys have gotten something as part of the Twitch drops, feel free to let yourselves be known, because I think that's a really cool little setup, and I wish more developers would do that. But the catch is that if I don't get these pre-recorded episodes done on time, so like for instance, if I don't get the Daggerfall episode done tonight, then I'm gonna have to push that forward to Sunday, and then that's gonna mean I'm gonna have to record 2 episodes. That's like 6 hours of the day blown out, and I have other things I'd like to do today. So what I think my plans are going to be are this: I'm gonna get a little bit of food. I'm going to record an Elder Scrolls episode. If I get that done early, by the way, there's nothing saying I can't stream this tonight. Just it's a little ambitious for me to try. If I'm not able to stream this on Sunday, as always, I'll let Twitter kind of come down to kind of being the best way to inform people in terms of the next... I'll let Twitter sort of be the arbiter of the next time that I bring it up. But the best to say is I have every intention of continuing to stream this game, because I find it's a really interesting one, and it's one that I have even more reason to do, because obviously people are getting stuff for watching it, and I think I might get something. We'll see. Content spoofing. But yeah, so simply put, this will be the last run that I have. If somebody is streaming Night Team 4, you know, I'll obviously toss the host to them.
Fox acid attack successful.
And
Mission completed.
we'll see if we can do another one in the on the weekend before I'm done. You just have to make sure you see your reaction to the end of Royal Gate. If you're not here, make sure someone clips it. Okay, sure thing. 2 others right now. Okay. Does anybody know any of these streamers who are streaming Night Team 4 right now? We're looking for the recruiting officer, right? Yeah.
Information gathering module initiated.
I will also say too, so if you guys are I think here's the deal I will do for
Information gathering module
for this game.
initiated.
I'm not going to do any story missions, but I'm going to allow myself some time. Like, I'm going to be going tonight. I'm likely tonight going to be going to a video game bar, and it's been really good for getting people into... Oh, these are recruits, not recruiters. Although... it doesn't say who brought them in. So yeah, the sorry, I'm getting I'm pulling myself all over the place. Usually when I go, so one, I kind of want to play this game on my own. I also think it'll make me not do these dumb things where I just like go barreling into you know, into something I should have known better, but because I hadn't played it in a while, I forget a really obvious function. But yeah, one of the things that's nice is when I go to this video game bar, I tend to notice, like, this is the funny thing. I don't know how I am as far as like salesmanship goes on Twitch, but in person, I notice whenever I open something up on my laptop in the bar, I do a really good job of getting people interested in games. So I want to find a way of playing this game in a way that's not going to like damage the ability to do the game in future, while still being able to do it. So I'm going to allow myself the bounties. If I get that like Section 9 one, I'm probably going to give it an attempt, but I don't know. We'll see, because apparently that's a really hard one. But yeah. And you said you put an audio recording on an MP3 player and just put that on Slumber. Easy way to go. Are you talking about... Are you talking about like the streams? Like you... Sorry, I'm looking for a recruiter. I gotta get back on track. Yeah, I don't need printers. Okay. So the fact that it's telling me password stuff makes me think... The thing is, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be accessing. Oh, the contract archive, obviously. Or the client database, maybe? And more importantly, do these count as active directories?
Information gathering module initiated. Information gathering module initiated.
Yeah, it was worth a shot. Okay. My voice is putting... Yeah, my streams put people to sleep. Okay, so it's giving me something to like break a password with, but it's not clear what password I need to be breaking. There's no special domains. I'm currently on contracts. So yeah, this is the challenge that I've got, is that it's all well and good for me to know about... Oh. Did I run? I think I ran out the clock. Okay, well, that's what I get for being a dummy.
Turbine C2 registry.
I'm not going out on that. So this is the longest ending that you'll ever see. So Spartan Titan supplier URL.
Information gathering module initiated.
Yeah, I've apparently just gone into complete dummy mode now, and I'm not even finishing. Not even finishing. Not even finishing sentences or commands. So longer endings are good. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, like people are getting a chance to get stuff out of this, so nobody's gonna complain about. Like I suppose the worst that you can do is just like mute the stream, hang out, and I'll gladly accept the added bodies. People will certainly be sleeping by the time you've ended now. But yeah, well, again, it's just one more job. This one will take an hour. This one has an hour time limit, so we're good. We're good for completion. I just need to stop being a dummy. Also, you know, the one really funny thing about this, while I haven't like gone and like downloaded Parrot or anything like that, this has made me sufficiently interested on computer internals that I've been picking up like a couple of old system administrator books that I've gotten and sort of like gave up on. I should remember what the Akamai exploit is now, but
information gathering module.
So the other thing that I've been trying to do more on the weekends is make sure that I actually get some proper reading in. So like I always have a book with me because you never know when there's going to be like a delay. And I hate people, so I don't need, you know, anything that gives me a chance to like not have to interact with them. But I don't know, like, especially once I got some of the debts taken care of, I generally try to say, it's like, okay, so what are some other good habits that I can try and get into? So it's like, you know, cooking at home a little bit more regularly. I thought I was like, well, you know, I love reading. I love like going to the museums and stuff like that, but I kind of do it ad hoc, and it would be nice. It'd be nice to make sure that I actually was regularly doing this sort of stuff. So, but of course, this is the cool thing about Night Team 4 is I get lots of interesting topics to read about. Okay, so supplier URL.
Information gathering module initiated.
Muting the stream itself, by the way, makes the view not count. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, so you got to mute the tab. All right, everyone, please keep my concurrent viewers up and mute the tab. Okay, so right, I did sfuzzer so that I can see if there's anything internal. In the meantime, I'm going to snoop around.
Information gathering module initiated.
Yeah, so don't mute the stream, mute the tab. Put me away. That's really cool. I never knew that, Ed Baver. That's really helpful to know, because like obviously I don't want to be too twitchy about I probably shouldn't have set that for a minute. I don't want to be too twitchy about like viewer numbers and stuff like that, but there is I think there's a threshold in terms of like streamers like streaming to a certain number of people for getting their rewards. If you do manage to stream, when would that be? An X amount of hours from now. So absolutely no idea tonight. So in reality, it takes me about 3 hours to record an Elder Scrolls episode, and I found out that Life doesn't have a fast forward button, so I actually need to be there for the full 3 hours of recording. And then in reality, like this place that I'm going out to. Oh, okay, this is going to be the supplier URL. So maybe there is a man in the middle attack that I can do. Okay. Yeah, this is one I really need to go back to. This is one I really need to go back to the tutorial for, because I feel like the man in the middle I'm completely lost on. Okay, so but yeah, to answer the question in terms of what it'd be. So let's say 3 hours for recording for sure. I don't think this place I'm going to be going to, I can be out of there within an hour. Aya Arms seems... Huh. Oh wait, it's got to be in Yemen, so... Oh, actually, maybe what I need to do is...
Information gathering module initiated.
Okay, anyways, so I'd say 4 or 5 hours at the minimum. Oh, on Sunday. Oh, okay. I'll try for the afternoon, so something along the lines of... something probably around the like probably around the time that we're here right now. I wouldn't be starting at this time, but I'd probably be trying in the afternoon. The best way though is if you're following the stream, you can get a notification when the stream goes online, and then if you check Twitter, I usually put out a tweet saying that I'll be going online. Okay, so let me think a bit about URL private military contractor supplier in Yemen. I just want to make sure it's like not a slash or anything like that that's killing. Oh, Jesus. There we go. Okay. As promised, that was that. But yeah, so sorry guys. I know it's like I hate leaving it at well, I might stream, I might not. I will do my best because I realize that there is a taste for this. I'm obviously wrapping up on my own, but for those of you that don't know about this, there is currently a campaign going on. You go to twitch.nightteam4.com. I just put that inside there. If you watch a Night Team 4 stream and you've got sort of drops enabled, I have enabled that for myself. But basically, you can get some rewards for watching Night Team 4 streams over the weekend, and the announcements will be, like, the stuff will be coming in. Those will be coming in as you... later on in the patch. So if you got something, apparently some people have been picking these up. during the stream. So it looks like there is a streamer called Skylark Blue 2. I do not know who they are, but they've got 5 viewers, and so it'd be wonderful to give them a nice big host to continue doing the Night Team 4 stuff. I believe they would need to go to that website and link up that way for these things to work. So I'll encourage you to respectfully let them know about that if those drops aren't enabled. But it'd be wonderful to continue giving a little bit of support to more people who are doing this game. Oh, sorry, I have like a raid command to give you the actual link. Okay, you don't need to use that raid message because again, I don't know who this person is, so it will probably be not a good idea for people to suddenly start running in and saying it, but that is their link. I'll be hitting the host button right now. Thank you very much for watching. And again, just as far as as the stream is concerned, I very much intend to try streaming this game tomorrow. It is possible I may not be able to do it just because I'm running out of time. But the reason I'm going off right now is that so I can do these other videos. I will announce on Twitter when I'm getting ready to go. If I have some indication in terms of whether or not it's going to happen, I'll put it on there, or Discord or any of these other places that you might be on. I try to keep it as comprehensive as I can. If I don't stream tomorrow, please don't feel hard done by on it. I will be sure to make sure that I get some more Night Team 4 up when these promotion things are running. So yes, but I'm doing a host anyway.